Right now, as you can see, we're in this current meeting room setup. We got our dry erase board in case I need to illustrate some points about thumbnail usage, which is something that I know is of critical import to a lot of people. In the past, when I talk to creators, they also want to know about posting time. They want to know about utilizing all the different YouTube tools. The other thing that we're going to touch on today is going to be about expanding your social video presence elsewhere. Obviously, Twitch, Snapchat, Facebook. Even if you do some, Periscope or some other kind of like live broadcasting through Twitter. I've experimented with that recently just to be silly, to see if anybody will end up like watching what I'm doing. So. I guess just in the interest of using time, if you're going to watch the archive, we're going to probably put like a timestamp on this, kind of find when it starts. But I'd say let's just do a formal start. I'm going to do some announcements about some things that we want all of our partners to be thinking about and considering. And then hopefully we can get some more questions coming in. But let's just start at the top. So, first off, to reintroduce myself, I am Sam Weller. I am the Director of Audience Development for BentPixels, and I am here to talk about everything to do with channel optimization. It obviously runs a really wide breadth of things in regards to thumbnails, tags, description. I've had the pleasure of talking with a few of you one-on-one. But this BentPixels live stream, what we're going to be doing every second Wednesday of the month, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, is a way to get some direct conversation in the moment of what you're looking for as far as advice, help, consulting. This is just for BentPixels partners and creators. So keep this unlisted link. We're going to have the archive posted in the dashboard. And we just want people to, this is our first time out, so obviously people coming into the chat, it's going to be, more often the more that we do it. But we're aiming to do this once a month, and depending on the feedback that we get from partners, we might do it even more. So this really is something where anything that you put into it, you're going to get out of it. And I want to make sure that I'm here for everybody, for any of these questions regarding audience development. Quick little bit of background about me so that you know where I've come from. I've been with BentPixels for about 3 years. I've been the Director of Audience Development for over a year and a half. And I come from a creator background myself. Everything that I do in my current job, working with creators and working with the community, stems from me being a creator myself in digital media, being in and out of creating what they used to call web series years ago, to working at the YouTube space in Los Angeles and creating original content with Skybound Media and doing a lot of things in my free time as far as creating videos and putting them online and creating projects. So the digital video and its landscape as far as how it's growing on these other platforms, not just YouTube, is of paramount importance to me. So I'm always watching trends. I'm always looking to see what is the next sort of thing that we want to explore. And so that's kind of what I want to bring in my expertise to this field. One of the big things that I wanted to address in our inaugural stream is the importance of other social platforms for your video. And right before I get into that, I do want to mention another thing. This stream is meant for everybody. It's a safe place to ask questions, to find collaborations with other people, and to really get a handle on what are the best things that you yourself, as an individual creator, can be doing to grow your channel and your presence. Because when you grow, we grow. We're directly invested in the kind of things that you do daily to make yourself better, to make your channel better, to make the content better. And so we want to be there as a even bigger presence to try and make those things happen. So we monitor these metrics. We see what is happening across the board in a network sense, and so we want to make sure that we get more involved in an individual sense. The things that we see partners doing broadly that we know that they can be doing a better job, we want to address those head on. We want to make sure that you know that we're watching, we're seeing it, we're invested in what you're doing. So that's really what this video is all about. So whether you're in the stream or the chat right now, or whether you are just watching the archive, just know that this is an additional resource. Also, if you use YouTube Red, I don't know if anybody has a chance of using that service yet or what they really enjoy about it. There is a way that you can watch YouTube videos on your smartphone, iPhone, and watch them in the background. You sort of listen to them as a podcast. So I'm going to try and keep the audio going. There's not going to be too much of a lag in between, what I'm saying and answering and doing questions. So I want it to be viable in both forms. Okay, so that being said, the big thing that I wanted to touch on today, and it's something that also I've been speaking about with Nick, our director of networks, is what are the other elements that you can do beyond YouTube to grow your presence? Obviously, YouTube has a what we call a developed ecosystem, which means that people are used to going there to search for videos, to finding content. With the growth of YouTube streaming for gaming, for example, and other purposes, desktop streaming is something too that they're getting more into. They're recognizing that there are other places that do these sort of integrations on Twitch for streaming that make a lot of sense to people. Also, Facebook. We've heard from a lot of our creators that that's a place that they're curious about, that they're interested in. And with the way that BentPixels is growing and daily in those areas, reflects that interest as well. So when we're looking at those platforms, we're thinking, how can you take what you do on YouTube and apply it to Facebook? Facebook's a very different platform. If you're not aware of some of the differences between the two, I'll give you a brief rundown. Essentially, Facebook it's interesting in that it pushes the live feed video direct to your followers. If you start a Facebook page or channel, when you ping and you go live, it shows up in the feed. People can get made aware of when you go live. Similar to on YouTube, how you're going through it. I would assume mostly on mobile, like over 75%, I think, of the video consumed on YouTube is through the mobile app. You get the little bell that rings. If you haven't been telling your subscribers that you want to keep coming back to all your recent content, to hit that bell, make sure that you're doing that, I would say, and your go home tags, because it greatly affects the retention of your subscriber base to those videos. We've seen that across the board in terms of the metrics and the data that we've been looking at. So make sure you remind people to click the bell. But with the Facebook live streaming, it's the same thing. They get pinged directly to it. The other thing about Facebook is that the discovery mechanism, and I think you've seen this, right? You're scrolling through the feed, you're thumbing through the feed, you start watching one video, it ends. Now they're doing mid-roll ads, so you're being made aware of when one's coming up, when it's going to resolve, when you're going to go back to the content that you were just watching, and then it automatically serves up another video. On YouTube, you know that there's a sidebar. There's suggested video, related video. In your home feed, for your own subscriptions, you're going to get served up things algorithmically that YouTube thinks you want to watch. Facebook right now is still kind of in its baby steps, baby stages of trying to get that recommendation up so that you're watching content that directly relates to what you just got done watching. It's improving, but it's not quite as robust. Also, in terms of the discovery, people know that on Facebook you have to pay to get exposed, right? So boosting posts, boosting things that are going to get more visibility. Everybody kind of knows about the way that views are looked at differently. On YouTube, it's watch time. On Facebook right now, it's just views, or it's related metrics or information that get those things cycled. Really what Facebook emphasizes is sharing, obviously. They want that video to show up on others' feeds. And native Facebook video does way better than a link to a YouTube channel. So why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about Facebook on a YouTube stream? Well, the answer is simple. YouTube is still the bread and butter for creators. The monetization is still there. Obviously, that's going through fluctuation, but we've already seen, and I'm just speaking generically, but we've been seeing some good bounce back after what we've been hearing about with the adpocalypse happening and things occurring, that we are seeing that advertisers are coming back, mainly because YouTube is refining their tools for advertisers so that they can make better choices about what they want to play their media against. So as a creator, it behooves you to put yourself in the best position for your own video discovery on YouTube. The reason why we're talking about Facebook and repurposing is because brands obviously aren't just about doing advertising. It's the influencer deals, it's the brand sponsorships, the integrations, hopefully the bigger money that you should be making as a creator. If you're doing your work and you're putting the effort in and you're optimizing your videos and you have great thumbnails and you're talking to your community, you deserve to be making more. You should be making more. And that's something that we think about daily on our end. So what we started looking at is expanding that business, expanding that scope of attention. If we see metrics-wise that your channel is growing on YouTube, we pay attention to that, and we want to make sure that we can approach you, that when we know that you're ready, and that your Facebook, your Instagram, your other social presence, related to video, because Instagram is used for that, Facebook's definitely used for that. That you can organize your videos into playlists and on the page, and overall, video does get more attention and shows up algorithmically more than a regular post. Pictures do better than text, so it's sort of a hierarchy, right? Text, pictures, video. So when we're looking at the creator as a whole, it does go beyond YouTube. So we're trying to encourage our creators to start looking at other ways that you can take your content on YouTube and repurpose it, or put that approach onto Facebook as well. There's a lot of different examples of that, about how you can do that. First thing that I would want to look at is, let's say, aspect ratio, right? So a YouTube video, people will look at it, widescreen. It's that widescreen ratio. What is it? 16 by 9. Yeah, sorry. I look at numbers all day, guys. Sometimes I get a little confused. So 16 by 9, and then you got the square format. You got 4 by 3. And then obviously you'll catch a lot of heat from your fans if you have a 16 by 9 video, but you're shooting it up and down like an iPhone. Because then, even though you can use the little icon at the bottom to full screen that and blow up their entire like mobile device with a full screen video, if you did that in 16 by 9, most people, when they see that, they immediately are like, why don't you just turn the phone, right? So you got to make sure that you're aware of that if your fans are going to rebel against that sort of thing. But there is a way to take videos that are shot in 16 by 9 and put them in 4 by 3. You've seen it, maybe it's obnoxious to you, but this would be a great way to repurpose your content and make highlights of your videos. Example, you've seen it where they put the black bars at the top and bottom of a 4 by 3 video, and they put some, teaser text in there like, you wouldn't believe, da-da-da-da. And you've seen it before in memes, where it's like, the text in the bottom, the text in the top, you got some stupid, crazy emojis or something, however your approach is, right? But obviously you can see that you can take a 16 by 9 video and you can put it into that 4 by 3 space. Also, if you're not using the full piece of content or the full runtime of a 16 by 9 video and putting in you put in your top 45 seconds, so you put in your top, minute and a half. There's something to be said because monetization on Facebook is still early. Not everybody has access, not everybody's able to do it yet. But the mid-roll really only works on videos. I mean, I have seen it as short as, 60-second videos will still get a mid-roll at some point. I see a couple other people have joined us. If you're watching us right now and you're not in the chat, go in the chat, pop the video out, click through, and start asking some questions. I'm just going to be riffing until then. So if you have anything in particular you'd like me to address, I'm still going to be going for a while. So make sure to say hello, have a greeting in there, and let us know that you're out there. So let us know your questions. Okay, back to what I was talking about. So there is one technique that we're not like proselytizing in terms of this is the only way to do it, but again, it's just one example. You have a cut up version of your longer video, 16 by 9, putting it into a 4 by 3 format, and then you will be able to, have like the preview, maybe even using the YouTube link in the Facebook description. You'll see this a lot actually when Facebook pages credit YouTube channels for video content, right? Where it's like you have a full YouTube video that you know you've seen somewhere before, maybe a year ago, but now it's this fresh new Facebook video that gets posted around, and people are starting to, spread it, and it's getting this renewed interest. And they credit the original author, they credit the original page. So I think using hyperlinks is different than if you were posting the video. So post the native video, always, for Facebook. Okay, so we have a question in the chat. I'm curious about a few things in regard to the dashboard. Okay, excellent. If you have any specific question about it, please feel free to type it up and put it in the chat. Again, today we're going over mainly like audience development techniques and different ways that you can optimize your videos, repurpose them for Facebook to make it easier for you to score some brand integrations. But we can also obviously answer some questions about the dashboard. If you have any other questions regarding network, affiliation, troubleshooting, errors that you've seen happening, you can always go to, and I'll put this in the chat, support@BentPixels.com, and that will be the email that you can use to directly contact us if you have any technical questions or issues. So yeah, exactly. You just asked, is there an ETA for some of the features to be added or fixed? Okay. So any of those questions about, forum, dashboard features, things like that, we do have a tech team that is working all the time on making sure that the dashboard features go smoothly. So if there are any updates or public things that, we'll be making you aware of, that's something that we will definitely do down the line. But thank you so much for asking that, Digital and Dice podcast. I'll definitely have to check it out. Digital and Dice, are you a D&D podcast or a D&D channel? If you are, I'd love to talk more about that, and let us know. Produce a certain type of, okay, so then Shelby the Great, is there any way I could work with BentPixels directly to produce a certain type of show or anything like that? That's a great question. A lot of creators, that want to do something bigger and better, obviously like some kind of like direct integration, direct help with those things. I think that we are open to ideas, but it has to have a few requirements first. The first thing would be the creative idea. The second thing would be that your channel already generates a certain amount of audience that would justify some type of investment or things that we can do more in depth with you. And the third thing would probably just be like the sustainability of it. When you think about the way that you invest in your channel, right? Like the amount of time that you spend on it and things that you would do to try and benefit the channel. You got to think about it as a small business owner. Is this going to be a good strategic move for yourself as well? If you do have something specific that you'd like to chat about, please feel free to send me an email about it. There you go. You can contact me, sam@BentPixels.com. And I want to say up front that, we cannot guarantee anything up front, but we will hear you out. We would love to talk more about the steps that need to be made in order to get things to that point where we might be able to do something. But it is something that we definitely want to provide some more things there. Okay, another question from El Rey Templiaro. Hello, when will there be support for people who speak Spanish? That is a great question. Obviously, we have an awesome Spanish and Brazilian speaking communities that are out there. Well, Brazilian Portuguese. They are awesome. They're great. They're a growing part of our network. They're a growing part of our channels. And so we are obviously thinking more about how we can provide multilingual support, whether that's in our text or whether that's in our just verbal support one-on-one. It's something that we're having a lot of internal conversations about. So, what one other question? Oh, okay, yeah. So the way that we're doing, I have my technical support making sure that I'm covering all the questions. Ryan Lewis videos, I will get to you in just a moment. So for the El Rey Templariado, we are having internal conversations about it, trying to see if we can do more Spanish-speaking support. For myself personally, I think that it will be a little bit of a growing process. We obviously want to make sure that we can address questions natively as much as possible. If you send us an email at support@bentpixels.com in a language, I believe that we get back to you directly with something. But you're right, for our broader Spanish-speaking partners, I think I would personally like to see some more live in-person multilingual support. So that is something that we are still working on, and we just need to find the right type of talent, the right type of person that we know that we can put in that position. So that's an ongoing conversation. If you have any other ideas or suggestions or people that you think would be good for that position, you know what? Let us hear about it. Email me, sam@bentpixels.com, because that relates directly to audience development. So thank you so much. We will do more work on that. Any income or Facebook from people who upload our content on their pages? Okay, so Ryan, this is a great question. This is obviously talking about rights, like making sure that if the videos get uploaded, that you notice it happening on Facebook in a greater amount, that we want to monitor that. There is still so much development that needs to be happening on Facebook side as far as their content ID and their rights manager to try and even get people paid on the platform. I'll be honest. So what we're doing as a company for BP is we want to know from our creators if they're seeing a lot of that happen. Ryan, if that's happening to you, email support@bentpixels.com or send whoever you've been speaking with so far for support links to those pages, links to those Facebook areas, so that we can have a better understanding of where that's happening and how that's happening. Because obviously we want to make sure that we're giving you the support that you need, and to try and crack down on that. And obviously, if we have more data about what pages are the worst offenders and stuff like that, those are ways that we can arm ourselves, so that when we have direct conversations with YouTube, with Facebook, that they know those things. We have concrete examples. Like, this is affecting our partners. This is affecting our creators. How can we protect them? So thank you. Yes, we will be looking into that. Okay. So Shelby the Great's asking a good question. Any way for video game review channels like mine to be able to receive review copies of upcoming games through BentPixels? So there is company by company, whether you're talking about Blizzard, Activision, all these different groups, they're looking for ways to get like key exposure, right? Early exposure and things like that. And so what we are doing is we are looking at, how can we grow our brand presence how can we grow our brand presence for our partners and get maybe some of those integrations in the future. As far as early access, that's, I think, on the publisher side that directly approaches certain gaming channels to have that early access for games or free copies or something for review. And there's certain things, tied up with that as well, where it's like, mainly it's mostly promotional or trying to raise awareness of their video game. Those are things that for BentPixels, that our company, if we were to approach a game company broadly to try and get early access for something into the hands of our partners, that's something that we would be pursuing for sure. But there hasn't been anything where a company, companies can also approach channels individually. As far as going through us as a liaison, because I think you just asked, Nintendo as the ambassadors program, wasn't sure if networks need to be involved. Our responsibility as a network is to try and get these bigger opportunities and make sure that those things happen for you guys. If it's something that we're able to get for you, then obviously it moves through us. But if you're directly approached, that's something that they approach you as an individual. Okay. So WoW Superheroes has a question. Can we backtrack or replay to find out what have you been talking about? So we will have an archive of this talk and everything that we've been speaking about so far. We will have a unlisted link for you to go back and watch, talking about what we're going to be doing, tips and tricks for our partners. So we've covered a lot of ground as far as just various questions coming in. So it's a lot, but there will be an archive if you want to go back and look at it. Okay, let's see here. Mad Munchkin. Sponsorship offers have been mentioned before to me via feedback from you guys. Okay, any updated information on that? Mad Munchkin, if there is a specific thing about revenue or questions, that's a support@bentpixels.com question. However, obviously, if we have something that is occurring where we have spoken with you before about it, then that will be handled probably on like a one-on-one basis. But again, just to kind of bring it back to like the bigger conversation, the brand sponsorships and things that we want to try and get for our partners and things like that is contingent not just on your following on YouTube anymore, even though YouTube is a main driver of that. It's also Facebook, it's also Twitter, it's also what you're possibly even doing on Twitch, Instagram is another big one. We're just wanting to share with you the information, what we've heard from the industry and partners as to these are the places that they're looking to get those kind of integrations. A lot of it is video content, and it can run the gamut. It's shout-outs, it's direct integrations, it's sponsored content, it's creating videos that are very, very special and unique with those companies. So what they want to see is they want to see like an audience. They either want to see an audience size or they want to see a quality of content size. So those are the kind of things that we want to start like making all of our creators aware of, that those are the things that you need to be worked on over time to make yourself most attractive. But those are things also that we're growing in, that we want to have more benefit for our creators, so that you guys understand that there's a reason why you're with us. There's a reason why you have us, with having your back, giving you this kind of one-on-one support and giving you this kind of live support, and hopefully, as you grow, giving you that kind of brand support. El Rey is asking about being a recruiter, that I would like to be a recruiter. I think that's another like potential one-on-one conversation that you could have with us. I don't know what our current stance on that is, if we want to source from the community for recruitment, but that's probably something that we would probably approach you on directly. But we've noted that you're interested, so maybe it's something we can talk to you one-on-one. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you're interested in recruiting or you're interested in doing some like talent acquisition for BentPixels as a network and trying to grow your expertise in that way, I think it's something we'd be open to. I think Nick is going to be jumping in the chat to kind of address that right now. So awesome questions so far, guys. And I want to address one other thing about that Mad Munchkin had asked about revenue drops on YouTube. The one thing I'll reiterate, because I don't know if you're in the stream when I was talking about before, Mad, but we have seen some rebound. Obviously, there was a huge thing that was written up all over the internet. You don't have to look too hard to find it, about the way that advertisers started treating YouTube channels. And a lot of it had to do with the relationship between advertisers and YouTube directly. It's about identifying content that is quote-unquote brand safe, or something that the advertisers feel comfortable putting their videos, their advertisements in front of. MXC Videos, welcome to the chat, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. So there has been some rebound. We have seen it. It is slower for some than others, but it's happening, and I think it's because YouTube has made a more concerted effort to make sure that advertisers have an understanding that they have control over what they want to post, and honestly that YouTube has an understanding of context. They did release, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, I think if you look up the Google support blog, they did do a pretty in-depth blog post about what the current community guidelines are. Regarding violence, regarding discriminatory language used in videos, and really it's just about having your content being presented as honestly as possible, as well as just avoiding what the regular YouTube community guidelines are anyway. They're looking so that if you're a video game streamer, that there isn't anything else weird or objectionable happening on that video game stream. Obviously, there's context that's needed. If you're doing a news related things, or if you're doing something that has news related or something like that if you're talking about something that's happening on the news that is objectionable, well, it's informational, it's educational content. We know that a lot of creator channels were getting flagged for those reasons. So it's definitely something that I think that YouTube is starting to really respond to in a better way, and advertisers are starting to come to a better understanding of the content that's on the platform. So we hope to see that for everyone that their revenue comes back in that regard. Okay, there's a few other questions here about. Okay, I've had issues with partnerships and other channels where my music was being flagged in their videos and then not being able to monetize videos. I'd like to be able to see who's using my music, make sure they are crediting correctly without flagging my music in the videos. Okay, so that is something that is a music rights issue. Obviously, there's multiple layers to that, and being able to monetize your own content. Obviously, if you're posting those videos with your original music on your channel, you have the rights to that. You should be able to monetize. If other people are using that content, let us know. Make us aware of who are the channels that are the biggest infringers on that. Email me, Sam at BentPixels, and we can take another look at it and see if there's anything else we can do. Okay, technical issues with the dashboard, relevant to the particular brand. Okay, so Digital and Dice Podcast does have a question about response time, support time, technical issues with the dashboard, and having, ramping those things up. That's a great question. There's been a lot of things that we have always wanted to do more of, and we have such a broad range of channels and different issues that's going on that it's the exact reason why a stream like this exists, so that we can get that feedback and understand what are the areas in which we need to improve, what are the areas that we know that we can do better, more broader support for all of our partners. So obviously Digital Dice Podcast, we want to make sure that we want to make sure that that's happening for you, for that support. As far as the technical issues with the dashboard, I can assure you I have met members of the technical team that does the work there. They are working really hard always on making sure that the dashboard's running correctly and that things are made properly. So as far as the speed there, it goes at the speed of our technical team, and they work very hard. I've met them in person. As far as the other support kind of questions, obviously it's for streams like this, having more one-on-ones. If there's something you'd like me to address directly for audience development in a future stream, which obviously we'll be keeping the archives, we'll be keeping those unlisted links, we want to make sure that that's available to you so that your questions are answered directly. There's a lot of partners with a lot of questions that are very similar. If it's broader concerns, and I hear from a lot of people, if I'm not able to get back to you directly or one-on-one, I think it's more about making sure that I address it for the whole group so that everybody gets the answers to those things. Sweet. And then Mitchell Miller Music. I'm fine with people using my music. I encourage it. It promotes and creates relationships with other channels. I just want a way to make sure that they're crediting my music correctly. So that's a great question. Just before I answer that question, I'll let you guys know that we're probably going to do this for about another 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if we get a couple more questions in from some other people that I haven't had a chance to ask. So we encourage you to get those questions in now so I have a chance to address them before we sign off. So please get those in. Back to Mitchell Miller Music. This is great. There's actually a variety of ways that you can ensure that people properly credit your music. The first is make it clear in your About tab, which you might already be doing. I need to check out your particular channel to see if you're doing this. Make it clear that you want people to use your music as long as they link back to the original video, or as long as they link back to your channel, or in the end cards. So I would put that text information in every single one of your videos near the top. Put something in there that is saying, hey, feel free to use my music, but credit at whatever, or use a tag, use a handle, use a channel tag. So you have all these different areas there that you can do that for text. The second thing that I would say is encourage people to, when you see that happen, post a comment under the video and say, thank you so much for using my music. Could you include this in the description? Or you send them a direct message. Or you have, just kind of your basic boilerplate where it's like, use my music, but include a mention in your end cards, right? Because in end cards, you can actually have like a little blurb or a button that will link people back to like your channel for like a subscribe link. So that would actually be a really savvy way of doing it as well. The more that you can make it clear in your descriptions and maybe even in the video content itself that you're cool with people using your music, you just want it to be credited and sort of made aware, just like ping me, let me know that you're doing this, because obviously the more collaborations you can get through those partnerships, the better, the more your channel's going to grow. But it has to have a demonstrative effect on your channel. So whether they're directly linking out to a video of yours or a channel of yours, you just got to make it clear. Okay, cool. So you're already doing that. That's awesome. That's really what you can do manually on your side. The other part would be just making sure that they do it for the end cards. But that's a great question about attribution. There's also, I know that YouTube has a way of crediting people in the credits section, which is something that they can do on their side for when they upload the video. So they can put it in the metadata. So that would be another way to doing it properly, because that was a way that YouTubers, YouTube heard responses from people where so many people collaborate on one piece of content that you can't just put a bunch of links underneath the description and expect everybody to get followed. But if you want people to be credited properly and have it in the metadata, they have those fields in there. So if you have a direct relationship with people that are using your music, please ask them if it would be possible to put that accreditation in the actual metadata of their video. I believe it's an option. When you upload a video, you have your title, description, tags. There should be a section under Advanced, I believe, that allows you to list formal credits. Cool. Okay, Ryan Lewis videos, great question, because this directly deals with something I think about every day. And I think we'll make it our final question, because we're coming up on about 45 minutes. With tags, I've been reading them, it may not be the best idea to use all of the space and only use around 3 to 5 word tags. What do you suggest? Okay, there's a lot of different schools of thought about tags. What works best, what doesn't. I'm going to use the whiteboard to kind of illustrate what I think is the best method for tagging. As I step out of frame. Okay, so I'll erase BentPixels here, and this will be our final lesson for today, but I think it's good because this is something that everybody can use when you're thinking about tagging your videos. The first thing that I would say is you are correct in one sense. Using multiple words in a single tag is good, but you want a combination of them, right? 3 to 5 words, my usual rule of thumb is using at least 2 words a tag. So let me give you an example after I just lost my chat window. Come back. Okay. So here's what I would say. Ryan Lewis pranks. Ryan Lewis videos. I believe you're talking about prank stuff. So let's just use that as an example. Um, you have certain tags like prank or pranks. You have these one-worders, right? Comedy. These are very like broad tags that you could use. Also, I call them like filler tags. So you have pranks, comedy. You have other kind of genre. I would call these like genre specific, which is good to include because honestly, that does make a difference in terms of the algorithm and discovery. You want there to be some of those just generic words, right? You have funny, but I would say that these constitute the fewest amount of tags that you use. The other thing I would say really quickly is you should use the entire tag field. You should use the entire tag field because you have, I believe, like 500 characters. You have 500 characters to do that in. And so you want to use all the space. Why would you not use the entirety of like the amount of metadata that you can use for your video? So I would actually recommend using all of it. So you have these kind of filler tags, generic one words. Then you have what I call, your channel tags. And these are critical in the sense that it's going to relate your video to your other video content. So it's going to show up in the suggested and related videos. So for you, Ryan, it would probably be something like, Ryan Lewis, or if you have a certain series of videos like Vegas pranks or something like that, those would be like channel tags or what I also call show tags, right? This is the title of your show. This is the genre that you're working. That was genre. Now it's title. Now it's about your name, making sure that all your videos have that generic information. And then, so that's really important for related and suggested video results. Also to make sure that your search term for Ryan Lewis or Ryan Lewis pranks or whatever term you're really trying to brand for yourself, that you become the number one result, right? It's the difference also between when I'm going to go into my third group of tags, which I literally just call specific tags. Specific tags are ones meant just for your video. So if you're doing something with like, wearing a different, suit, like you're wearing a suit full of hot dogs. I don't know why I just said that, but you're wearing a suit full of hot dogs, or you pop out and surprise someone. So then you have specific tags about what is like legitimately just what is happening in your video. Okay. Let me just make sure how I'm doing. Okay. So yeah, like what's happening directly in your video, what's happening specifically in your video. You put those specific tags. Other thing that I would say, theory-wise, that I would include, so we already know use the entire tag field. I'll just erase that. Is there is also series of tags, like you want to think about what I call your tag cloud. And this is something that if you create a Google Doc for this, or if you had something that you were noticing other people's tags that they're using, competitor tags. So competitor tags, which would be other prank videos. What are they using? How can you technically steal those tags? If you're using in the dashboard TubeBuddy for this, that will surface that information on your competitor videos. And that's a really good way to kind of like look at what they're doing. There's also a technique that you can use where you can look it up on Google, but it's a source information or page source info, and underneath video tag or video metadata, you can actually see all the metadata that they use for that video on there as well. So competitor tags. The tag cloud is also, if you have certain tags that you use for particular types of pranks, keep track of those. So for one of our clients, they have various magic tricks. So it's like, you want to use words like illusion trick, illusion magic trick, and you're using variations on it, right? People have heard this before in SEO. So you would have genre specific or related tags. That every time you post a video of that type, you're using that tag cloud. Okay, so that's a lot to take in, but essentially, just to recap, you have filler ones that can be single word tags like comedy, funny, pranks, right? Because those individual words will end up relating to each other if they're used or separated in multiple contexts. Then you have your multi-word stuff like Ryan Lewis, Vegas pranks, like you said, your point, that are better because you always want to imagine yourself as a person that is typing into the keyboard something that they're trying to find. So if I'm looking, like yesterday I was looking for this video of an elephant befriending, a young elephant befriending a dog and them being best friends. So what did I do? I went to YouTube and I literally typed in young dog elephant, okay? So while you might not have a multi-word tag that just says young dog elephant, you might have filler tags that are just the word young, dog, elephant, okay? So there is a purpose for those individual ones. But there's a purpose for your channel tags to get related and suggested video, to brand your content. And then there's specific tags that are just for the video specifically that are specified enough that they will rank higher in search because not a lot of people might be using them. You always want to go for high search volume, low occurrence. And then finally, to fill everything out and to organize your stuff, put them into tag clouds. Understand the clouds of tags that your competitors use. Understand the ones that are genre specific or video specific or type specific that you use and throw them in there. So a combination of these three things, that should make up your 500 characters for tags. Okay, I believe that is all that I will be able to cover for today. So we've got collaborate. This is great. One last thing from Digital and Dice Podcast. We'd love to collaborate with other BentPixels partners in the future. Is there a way we can work within the network more efficiently? Contact lists, events run by you guys, sponsored contests. You are thinking in the right way, Digital and Dice Podcast. We obviously want all of our in-house creators to be talking with one another. And so what I would recommend, get started in this chat. Contact all these folks. Let them know you're in the network. Everybody should be friends. Everybody should know each other and want to promote one another and get those things going. So that's the first place to start. Second place is that, yes, we are thinking about what we can be doing for more group events like this, more group things that will encourage people that are working within similar areas and make some love connections. So we are working on that as well. There's a lot of things that we can do, but if we can do more of them in a public forum and say, hey, everybody that does like cool D&D playthroughs or podcasts or stuff, let's all bring them in. All of our gamers, let's come in. All of our comedy people, come into this stream. So we are going to be doing hopefully more stuff like this in the future. Okay. Yes, to MXC Video's point, meetups would be dope, but location would make that hard for everybody. You're all spread out. You're all global, which is awesome because you bring your own style and your own technique to stuff. So thank you guys so much for joining us in this inaugural stream. I actually was really impressed by everybody kind of turning out and giving questions. Gets me excited, gets me pumped, lets me know what you guys are thinking and what we can be doing going forward to make you being a part of the BentPixels community even bigger and better. Reminder, we are doing this every second Wednesday of the month, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check your dashboard, the link will be posted there, and check after the stream for an archived version, again, unlisted. And keep that link to yourself because this is meant for you. This is meant for the BP folks. And we want you to be excited. We want you to feel supported. We want to give you that support. We want to train you up, get you into those bigger deals. That's what we're all about. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Good luck with your channels. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you again definitely next month. Talk to you later.